Okay, it's Sunday, July 5th, and we're heading back out to South Bend, Indiana to finish repairing a 2005 Freestar that has a misfire, a Class A misfire, whenever it's raining out. What I found is that the coil pack had huge cracks in the bottom of it, so he may have a misfire here and there when it's dry out, but once all that moisture's in the air, it's that much easier to jump that gap to ground on there. And the valve covers on the Freestars are metal. So we got there around 9:30 on July 2nd, coming back from the East Coast tour, and we were able to diagnose it, pull some stuff apart, diagnose it, verify it, stuff like that. But by that time we finished anything, it was too late to get any parts. So I told the guy, don't worry about it, I'll come back out. Give me a few days to get the part. I like to have Motorcraft parts for ignition coils. So ordered one from Amazon, and it came this morning from USPS, Sunday delivery. Thank you very much, USPS, for offering that service. And I have my coil in hand, and we can head back out there and repair it properly. The one other thing I'm gonna do, since the wiper cowl has to come off on there, is do the resealing of the wiper cowl. There's a TSB for it to prevent water from getting into the PCM. That can cause major drivability issues also, like cam sensor codes, speed sensor codes, trans range sensor codes, all kinds of issues. So while we're in there changing the coil pack for the guy, we're going to reseal the whole wiper cowl and make sure that's sealed up, keep the PCM dry, so the vehicle is that much more reliable for him and his family. So like I said, it's about a 2.5 hour drive from my house, but I figured no big deal. I like taking little road trips, gather the family up, gather the dogs up, and we'll go out for a little drive and take care of him and finish it right. It's gonna be a major difference working there during the daylight. Before, it was pitch black like you wouldn't believe, and working with flashlights makes it a little bit more difficult. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a video on my channel of us repairing this, well, diagnosing it, and you can see it was just pitch black. So the major thing is we found out exactly what the problem is, and now we have the proper parts in hand to go fix it. All right, dogs, you ready to drink? What do you think? Come here. Here, take some water. What's that? What's that? Get away from that. Get! Honk. Here, take some water. Hold on. Okay, we're back, and I have the wiper cowl off already, and we're going to take the coil out of here. Pretty much, without pulling that wiper cowl off, it's impossible to get to the coil pack on here. On the Windstars, you were able to get to it through this area by pulling this apart, but not on the Freestars. It's way back in here buried. So we're going to start changing that out. There we go. Pull these off of here. Now, if you're not used to changing these, make sure you mark where all the wires go, else you're going to be trying to figure it out in the end. Besides these wires coming off of here, and one connector for the harness for the primary side, right here. Besides that, there's 3 7mm bolts. Now I'll show you where they're at on here. You can see there's 2 on one side and 1 on the other side. You can see it's pretty simple to change them out. So using my fancy 1/4 inch Milwaukee, trying it out finally, and on these 7mm bolts, it sure is doing the job. Get some of these other things out of the way. It's just nice to do it with power instead of by hand. This little sucker right here, this 1/4 inch Milwaukee, actually has 30 foot-pounds of torque to it, whereas the 3/8 only has 35. So it's way up there for being a 1/4 inch drive on there. So it's definitely useful. You can see how small the tip of it is on there, getting those tight spaces in low torque settings. Okay, so here's the old coil. I'm gonna pull it out of here. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. It's gonna pick it up on there. So there's some cracks right here. That's pretty common on the outside in the towers here. There's a few right here by number 2. Up top here, it's hard to see, but this one you can't miss. You see right here, that's number 2 right here, the coil. It's all cracked in this area, and that's where it's jumping to the valve cover and we're losing it. So that's very obvious failure on there. That's how these usually fail. Alright, so same thing, going back in, have your bolts ready, one at a time. Once you get a bolt or 2 in, the whole thing will line up on there. What I do is I put one in on the double side, and then I go to the single side over here on the other side of the coil pack, and that'll definitely line it up for the 3rd one. Over doing 2 on one side at a time. Get the whole thing lined up. And I always thread them in by hand so there's no cross threading. And I could use this and tighten them back down, and it won't over torque them either. So that's nice. Now comes the tricky part of putting the correct ones back on. For the front ones, they're all kind of the right length. Push them back on fully. Okay. Get them lined up. For this rear one, just line them up. And they're laid properly, make sure they're not going to chafe on anything, and then you can do your primary side here. And make sure that clips in all the way till it clicks like that.